we're all set to go?
Well, no, you look.
Okay.
Luck.
Good evening. It's 6 o'clock. We will start this work session. I call it to order. Are there any changes or amendments to the work session agenda? Hearing none, and we will accept it as presented. First order of business is policy JECB.
Perfect, so JECB, as you can kind of see on there, I think that's where we set the inter-district, correct?
Yeah, sorry, if you look in your new business, a lot of this stuff will be in there. Sorry.
In your packet,
Yeah.
so, and the reason why you're pointing this one out, this one every year we approve because we have different dates or maybe different requirements for class sizes and those things, and so we review it every year, so, so the JCB, the updated one, really it reads exactly like it always has before, except for we now have the virtual school on there. So tonight you'll see that, because the virtual school has two inter-district transfer dates. One is August 5th, and the other one is December 20th. And so there's two open enrollment periods for that. Other than that, everything is the same. The transfer into the district grades K-8 maximum term based on class size and resources, that is all standard, which we.
What did you say is the maximum?
It just says to be determined based on class sizes and resources available. So those are the two factors we use.
Okay, and those dates for the virtual school, it is clear in the policy that that is just for the virtual school and not for.
And that's what will be this, if you read it in new business, that's what it's very clear. It says NISA virtual non-resident students for the first semester is August 5th and December 20th. So in-person non-resident students is June 15th. So.
Any questions on that for Ryan? Any other questions?
And you guys will vote on that.
Yeah.
Yes.
That one we need to vote on it too, so.
Okay, then the board scholarship is the next item. And it is, the forms are now available, correct?
I was waiting until you guys announced it tonight, but I didn't change anything on the form other than the due date, which I just recommended is April 4th. The awards assembly is May 7th, so that gives Crystal enough time, the high school enough time, me enough time to get everything ready for that awards assembly. So if you guys want to suggest a different date, that's fine, but that's the only change that I made on the application. And then if you guys just want to kind of talk about how you want to receive those. I know last year there was discussion about maybe redacting personal information, so all you got was their essays and their transcripts,
No
so you
names.
didn't know who the applicant was. I don't know if you want to continue to have a work session to hash that out, or if you all just want to send in your top ones and do it that way, just whatever you guys decide. We just kind of.
I kind of like not knowing who they are, because we all bring personal biases, whether we mean to or not.
Does that say it's streaming, by the way? I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
I got a text, okay.
You push the right button.
I'm a professional button, for sure. Yeah.
Is there a way you could do that, to send us stuff like just candidate B or candidate B or something?
Yeah, I can redact. I also suggested April 4th because that's the Friday before our work session if you guys decide that you want to meet and discuss it. However, we've done that in the past, but whatever you want to do moving forward. Because that Monday's the 7th, that we do that Friday the 4th, so we would meet in a work session, so it could be on there to either discuss or you bring your top ones and it just.
And we have the same amount of money that we have had in the past.
5,000 is what is budgeted.
So how do you all feel about that? Do it similar to what we did last year. That's seems like a good format to me,
But you want the names redacted?
yes.
That sounds good to me.
So we'll just, in regular session, you'll just announce that it's open and then announce the deadline, and then I'll send it over to the high school, make sure it gets out.
Okay. Next item is the Adrian Co-op.
Yes, so
Fill us in on that.
if you guys remember last year that we went into a co-op with Adrian for baseball, they didn't have enough for a team, and there was a couple kids who were interested, and it was for last year. They are in kind of the same boat this year, only they want to add softball as well, and so this would be for a co-op. I think it's a 2-year co-op, and so it would be both baseball and softball, and right now they're looking at 2 freshmen for both baseball and softball. So,
And so we're looking at this year and next year.
yes, that's my understanding.
How did baseball go? Did the
It went
coaches
actually-
like it? Any issues?
It went really, really well, especially having, because they do supply, another coach with them, and it helps with supervision and all that, so it actually went really, really well. So, that's
And
why
they
we're
will-
interested in doing it.
They will supply a coach for both.
Yeah, yeah, or
both
volunteer
softball.
coach, yeah, so, yep, that is in charge of that person. It'll be the same as last year, where they have to get them from Adrian to here, kind of all that same stuff. Our thing is we are running everything like usual, so, yep, no special trips or
And
anything
there were
like
no
that.
problems.
No, like I said, it went really, really well. That's when they proposed it. Again, this year, Josh was 100% all in favor for it, so it's good. Yeah, and I think that student, or that athlete that was last year, I think he's pitching for College Southern Idaho or something like that, CSI, I think. So pretty successful. Good for everybody. Yeah. Or CW.
So we need to vote on that in open session.
So,
Yeah, it'll be a vote
yeah,
in open
he's somewhere. So.
and regular.
So yeah, so any questions about that? Perfect. And again, that's what they're expecting, one of the students may say, hey, I don't want to be with my friends, I'd rather do track, so we're leaving it open to them, so.
Okay, so, and if there are any disciplinary problems, their coach takes care of.
Yep, and it goes to their school as well, so,
Okay.
yep.
Any other questions on that co-op? Okay, that brings us to the school calendar.
Okay, so if you can kind of see in your packet there, I think it's under new business. And so I just want to go over what I'm going to be proposing tonight to you, and I'll do another summary of it for everybody, just so you guys can ask the questions and do that. And remember, you may want to ask a question here and then ask the same question of me again in the regular session. I just want to point that out, that's absolutely okay, but is there time to really have an open discussion on it? So there are 2 calendars on there. So you have your front page. This calendar mirrors what our calendar looks like right now. Pretty standard thing. I'm proposing the second calendar on there. And so, and I know I put this in my weekly letter to you guys. Based upon student and staff attendance for Fridays, they're very, very poorly attended, to say the best. And so what I'm proposing is we have no Fridays. There are 0 Fridays for students here. And I added those Fridays that we have. So like next Monday, which is President's Day, we have Friday. Well, next year I'm proposing that we just won't have Friday. So we take Monday off and we'll still have Friday off. Those days are added till the end of June there. So if you can see, we will push into June. Graduation stays the same. Everything else will be the same except for, like I said, those Fridays will be off until June.
So basically only 4 days.
Yep, that's exactly what it is. So, as you know, going from a 5-day to 4-day and losing instructional time and days that, every day is extremely valuable to us. And if kids aren't showing up and adults aren't showing up, we got to find an opportunity to get them here. And so that's why we moved it there so we can every day make it. So out of those 147 days, we want them here.
Has there been comment from the staff regarding
So, we talked about ad council, the, admin are 100% in favor for it, actually, pretty positive, especially with the benefits we talked about. I shared it with both the, classified and certified unions, and, haven't received, it wasn't like no, this is the most horrible idea, they saw the benefits of those, and so it wasn't a lot of comment saying anything against it or really for it, it was, they saw that, and that's something we proposed it to them to get feedback. And so receiving kind of conversations that it's neutral. How about that? Yeah.
What if a student decides to just, that the 28th of May is their last day and they just don't come that last week?
And that's a requirement of coming. That's just, yeah.
Well, and also, because this kind of fits in with the calendar over on the west side, as far as.
Going into, yeah. And we do know they don't start until, after Labor Day on there.
But they
And
don't
so, but they'll go until the second or third week of June, but they all start 5-day weeks, and I mean, it's vastly different. And essentially, like I said, all I did was, what's different from this year is take those Fridays off and add them in June. And so, yeah, but it will reflect a little more on the other side of the state, which helps us in both the learning loss in summer, testing, all those things is just benefit and getting people here.
So you're gonna push back summer school too?
No, summer school will stay on the same date. The only difference is, so right now in summer school, they meet like that Thursday, Friday to plan and do all those. They're gonna be required to do that like after school, kind of like an extra duty contract like coaches.
Okay.
Say, hey, here's your time, we're paying you to do it during this time. And so take that time and be prepared for Monday because kids are coming.
So summer school would start on the 8th?
Yep. So there'd be no disruption in summer school. We don't have to push it in July. They still get the full 3 weeks.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I know it hasn't been released to patrons yet. Have you gotten any kind of feedback at all about, the feelings about going into June?
I haven't at all. More kind of internal. I shared with everybody and had a conversation with everybody internally, and pretty overwhelming when you look at the benefits of it. That's why I'm recommending that. So.
How will we keep people motivated in those short weeks? They have Monday off, Friday off. When I go to work and it's a 3-day week, it's pretty hard to stay motivated.
Yeah.
I don't know why you would think you'd be like, I've got 3 days to do 5 days worth of work, but I guess that's what happens, but it can be hard.
Oh, absolutely, especially when you have, because you'll have essentially a 4-day weekend, 3 days, and another 3-day weekend. It absolutely is, but like I said, what we're seeing right now, when attendance is down to 70% and less during those days, they're taking it off anyway. And like I said, it's staff is more, we're seeing the biggest dip in staff attendance on those days. And so and there's like last Friday we talked about, the one in January, a couple of them were Smile, right? They said pick a Friday, because usually we don't go on Fridays. Well, we picked the one Friday in January we were there, so we lost 4 teachers to that. There was just a lot involved in that. But like I said, we're seeing that they're not really coming on Fridays anyway. So.
How many student days are required a year?
It's student hours.
Okay.
And so 990 is the minimum, and that's for high school. And so that's the most, but it's in high school, and that's our 990 that we're meeting with. So
looks like this is 962.
So if you go 962, then you're able to add in 30 hours for school improvement plus 30 hours for your parent-teacher conferences, and so that actually puts us at 1022.
Those count as student hours?
They do, yeah, up to 30, yeah.
But what if we have a couple of snow days or something?
And we're gonna get pretty darn close. So that's, yeah. In that case, obviously, we have, 30 some hours to make up, but if that happens, we always do have the option to say we're gonna have to add in Friday. So we're not gonna keep pushing it further and further into June at that point. We'll just add it to those Fridays, so.
So basically, our staff understands that part of the reason is because they've been taking Fridays off.
It's
So-
attendance of students and
Yeah.
staff, yep.
So I hope that our patrons understand that a lot of it has to do with kids taking
Yeah.
those days off.
And what we look at is we react on data, right? And the data is pretty clear, showing us throughout the whole year is, I mean, it's not well regularly attended. And so we don't sound emotional, like, oh, well, they're not doing this, we'll go do, it's like, no, the data is showing us it's not an effective time. So let's try to move that to a better time for our kids and adults.
Okay, so how are the kids' grades or test scores doing with the 4-day week?
I would say they're pretty stagnant right now. That's our mid-year check we just did, and I'm, in our March one, I'm gonna do an official presentation to the board going into testing season, and saying our mid-year check, we're actually, I mean, we're pretty dang consistent where we've been in the last like 10 years, which is not what we wanna see.
No,
We
wanna
do
see
have,
something.
yeah, we have some outliers that are looking really positive, and what we're bringing different this year is that not only are we having the conversations about data and admin, we're bringing that back, and we're having the same conversations in PLCs, the same conversations in buildings, saying, here it is, what's our plan, what are we gonna do? And so, it is a different feel this year, and so hopefully we're able, just like the calendar, take that data and act on it and see a change, so. But yeah, we'll have an official presentation in March that outlines all of those things for the community, so.
And I do have a question for Crystal.
Yes,
The 4-day week
Mhm.
has really impacted our nutritional services.
yes, we
Is-
cut their revenue by 20%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, we kind of expected that because we changed the days, but
Mhm.
is there anything that we are doing or can do about that?
So I know the food service manager is really trying to hit the after-school snack program with all of our after-school programs, getting every student a snack in all 3 buildings to increase some revenue coming back. I would imagine Ryan's tasked them with menu planning for next year, being, you know, utilizing what we have, making the best meals we can, but you know, unfortunately what's against us is our labor costs always go up and food costs, as you know. Eggs, maybe, you know, we all know that topic, so.
Eggs are more expensive?
Eggs are more expensive,
No, I'm
so.
joking.
I know they're working on it. It's just really hard when your revenue is based off how many meals and we've taken a whole day away from them, so.
And what we also have to remember is that we are trying to get away from prepackaged processed foods as much as possible. Obviously, we have to do it, right? I mean, but we try to limit that. And when you do that, by taking away revenue, making kind of more fresh, better options for our kids, it's gonna cost more. And we knew going from back before that there's gonna be a cost to it. It's just, I mean, again, we could go back and really take a dip where we were probably 4 years ago before Chef Freddie got here, where the product wasn't great, you know, I mean, it wasn't, anyway, so that's what I'm saying, is that there's a kind of a balance of those two things. I think as a board, what we say is like, yes, we understand we don't need, you know, 5-star restaurant quality stuff, but we do need something really good, and we're you know, we'll go a little bit into the hole just to maintain at least that. And so, I mean, I think that as a board, we say, that's worth that money. So, and it's not a big amount. How much is it?
Tonight I'll present, I think we're negative 25,000 right now.
Yeah.
But my projections in the budget is about 50, and we're halfway through the year, so.
Yeah.
And it's something we'll discuss in the upcoming budget meetings for fiscal year '26, so won't be a surprise to anybody.
But it is already added in the budget, so we
Mhm.
know that it's
Yeah.
not like, oh no.
It's accounted for.
We talked about it last year,
Mhm.
and it's, yeah, I mean, like I said, this isn't, never mind, I won't say that comment. It's not as surprising, we are prepared for it, so, it was a snarky joke, nobody wants to hear that.
And
So-
You?
Well, yeah.
No.
You're on camera.
I know, that's what I'm saying. So anyway, so that's the calendar I'm going to present today. I'm going to outline a couple of those things. And again, you definitely ask about the staff, ask about, you know, what does our community think of it, and those things. I think those are great questions that everybody needs to hear in an open session. But this is the one that we're supporting this year. So.
any other questions on the calendar? We'll move on to the rural scholarship. Okay, basically, the rural caucus awarded us a scholarship of $1,500
Yes.
for board development. And Ryan and I have talked to Kristen Miles from OSBA, and I told her that one of the things I was really concerned about was having a board self-assessment, which is something we haven't done. I really think that we have learned to work together. I mean, you know, the one thing that has really impressed me about all of us, and I've been on other boards before, but is that we actually talk to each other and we listen. You know, which a lot of boards don't do, so. So, but anyway, that was one of the things I asked her about, a board self-assessment, and then helping us to be visionary, to start planning not just 2 years in advance or 5 years, but looking down the road 10 and even 20 years, because a lot of the decisions we make now are going to be impactful in 15 or 20 years. And I think we forget that. So, but anyways, so we haven't picked a time yet.
We do have some dates
Yeah.
that are, do you have those? I have them here.
And we have, let's see, what do? We broke it into 2 sessions, and they will be virtual sessions. So it was more cost effective, guys.
That way, it truly is free for the board
Yes.
and the community, and so we're just getting these trainings and so forth. Because that was my concern when you guys got the scholarship. It was like $1,500, and we were looking at the menus, like, but then it cost, this much for a full day training, this much to get them here. I mean, it was like, but that doesn't even cover what you guys got the scholarship for. And so Kristen actually, said, hey, I'll work with you. Let's figure this out. Let's do it. And so I was really happy what they came up with. It'll cost us $0. So, yeah. And I think the board self-assessment will be coming out on the 18th for you guys, of February 18th, and that's just at your leisure, you can take that. And then the first session, they're going to be talking about the 12 research-based roles of the board, and they're going to really use that self-assessment. I won't see it. You guys, like Kristen will say, hey, here's where we see that we need, and so that'll help us direct us a little bit. And then, let's see, vision directed planning, legislative and partner advocacy, cultural responsiveness, and interfacing with the community. And then they're going to do this with, what I really enjoy was scenario-based discussions, right? So saying, hey, you're at M&W, you're getting a maple bar, and somebody says, hey, what did you hear about, and then so as a board, we'll be able to walk through that. What is the response? What do we say? I heard that there's a teacher down there that's going to, like, what do we do as a board? And so, anyway, so she's going to use that to help us, and then so that will be, we are thinking March 6th. Does that work for everybody? It's 2 hours, 2.5 hours, did we say, Pat? It is a little longer, get us out of here by 8:30. I think it was from 6 to 8:30, that's what we said. I know, you guys don't know your calendars right away, but we'll send you this. And then the next one is April 10th.
So, and if you all think of something else that you would like to have in this development thing, let me know. The 3 of us, Ryan, Kristen, and I, sort of put this together so we'd have something. And we have to do this by June 30th. Use the money by June 30th. And the Rural Caucus wants to have a report from us.
Yeah, and I'll set it up and then make you 2 do it again. So
Oh, Brian,
Yeah.
you're so good.
That's what I did. But no, again, and this is just an idea that we had for the board to help us educate and get better. Again, it is for you, whatever you guys think, like, hey, we really need to start talking about this, or, and then obviously from when we planned this back at the beginning of January to now, things are vastly changed, and we might want to pick something else, and so,
Yes.
but that's just kind of our best guess at the time, so just a heads up.
anyway, so, you know, as Brian said, if you think of something else you want to talk about at that rural scholarship time, it is our time, and we're not paying for it because we have a scholarship. We need to, you know, use it to the best of whatever. So, any questions on that? We'll move on then to the turf project.
Yes. So I am going to be proposing, and I'll briefly outline. So we received three bids for the design aspect of the turf, right? This isn't for the full project. They have to go in, they have to do sample surveys, they have to, you know, there's a lot of things, and so this is just the design portion of it. And we met as a committee. It is myself, Lee Long, Luke Cleaver, Josh Deanda, Jesse Melendez, and John Graves, and Crystal Rideau is in our committee. And so we looked at all the proposals, we had a rubric, and then everybody scored it independently. Then a lot of our members independently called community members of like Emmett and Homedale, Susie and Pat and myself, and a couple members of that team did go to Emmett and Homedale to look at it and talk to their maintenance people. So anyway, so after kind of a really long kind of process, it's pretty clear that we're going to be presenting to you guys to go with the Wright brothers. They are the one that did come out of Emmett. They are local. It is one of the benefits was like, I have an issue. I have somebody 45 minutes from here to come resolve it. And so anyway, so we are going with Wright brothers. Their proposal for the design was actually right in line with this Tackett Sports, and they're out of Vancouver, Washington, Portland area. And so anyway, that's where we're going to go with these guys.
Okay, could you tell us where the other bid was from?
Yes, the Hellas bid, which is actually, I was really impressed by these, but these guys are out of Texas. They do a lot of kind of sports fields around the U.S. And so it was actually, their bid was pretty good. Their bid was less than the other two, but they didn't put engineer costs in this one as well, so that kind of offset those things. But really, the localness of the Wright brothers and even this, and that's why they were kind of clear above this other proposal. So, and then we do have, and just for everybody's, we do have all of our rubrics and everything that we used when grading the project designers. So, any questions?
I have.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead with the question. I was just gonna make a comment, I like to talk. So, but ask your question, please, Brian has the answer.
Yes.
If we put this turf in, are we gonna be excluding people from being able to use the field? I mean, I know that was a concern that came up a while ago as this discussion started happening, but I haven't really heard, other than I hear from other school districts, they put in a nicer facility, they put in turf, they put in a nicer track, and then they say, but it's expensive to upkeep, so the community can't use it anymore. Is that gonna be?
So it's going to be, it is just like our facilities. It will be open to organizations like Nissa Youth Athletics, actual kind of things, not like recreation. Anybody can come on at any time and do that. It will be, I mean, we're going to be shutting it down for just regular, like weekend random use, but organizations and those people can still use it. Outside organizations, if we see fit, like, hey, we want to run. I watched the commercial yesterday with the girls 7-on-7 flag football. I thought it was awesome. I was like, I'm going to start a team. Anyway, so things like that we absolutely want them to. And we talked to like Homedale and Emmett, and they said, no, we beat the crap out of this thing, and it holds up really, really well. But yeah, so we definitely want organizations to use it.
Well, and my question is not really so much for organizations, because just like our facilities, that's great, we can make it available, they can cover some of the costs. But, I mean, group of kids who want to do a pickup football game, can they come out here in the middle, on a Saturday afternoon, nobody's using it, they go play a game?
Yeah.
You know, because one of our things we've talked about is wanting the school grounds to attract kids so that they're not going and doing other things. But if we put in turf and then we say, and now you can't use this on the weekends, we're kind of cutting against maybe not a core goal we've set, but something we've talked about being important.
So there are two football fields that the size of this practice field, both middle school and high school, that is the same, right? It's grass, it's everything that is now, that are absolutely open to everybody. And the good part about it is that with soccer, all the soccer programs using it, all the football programs using it, is that the grass out there will be better for the community to use. And so the soccer fields are always open. So there's lots of space and fields out there for people. And somebody brought up is that, well, what about the walking path? I like using the walking path, and if you're going to shut that down, we're part of our remodel of the elementary playground. We are paving another quarter-mile path around. It goes right here where these trees are around there, where they do the walking club. They will absolutely be available 24/7. Well, no, when school's not in session, they can come out and use that anytime. Just like our track, though, right? It is paved, all of those things, and will be well maintained. So we have lots of space for them, and then we still do have, I call it the Vince Perez walk, or the field out there where he made the cross country loop around. I mean, that's a pretty cool place, and we want community to use that as well. So there's lots of space for those things that we're not limiting them, saying, well, now you can't play football, now you can't walk on the track. We have those options for them. So the only thing we're doing is protecting our investment. What is it?
Will the track be then shut down for community use
Yep.
on the weekends and evenings?
Yep.
And
Then-
early mornings?
Yeah, so that's why we'll have that one out there that is available. So they will have a different space to do that. So, yeah.
So we did try to make sure that there was space available, so,
Yep.
and paved space.
And the city has that new one at the park over here too.
Yes, they do on North, is it? Or is it the?
Swimming pool park. what's
Yeah,
it
whatever
called?
that one's, yeah.
The Lions Park.
Lions Park? Lions Park, sorry. At Lions Park, there's also one there, but yeah. But that's part of protecting the investment of the district, because it's not really, and when we talk to Homedale and Emmett and kind of these companies, it is usually on the weekends, like people throw trash on it, they'll, they said burn cigarettes on it, I mean, just random things like that we want to make sure we're protecting that for the district, so.
And it's an athletic field. It will be used for football, it will be used for soccer. When Susan and I looked at the fields, they're actually marked. So you're gonna be able to see the lines, and our maintenance people aren't gonna have to put the lines back in, but they'll be available. The lines will be marked for all of the youth football games and soccer games, which will be very nice. It was pretty neat.
And rugby would be able to use it as well?
They can, I don't know the dimensions with rugby and that club, to be honest, that's not something, but they can absolutely use it. And that's a good part.
I did ask about rugby, and rugby, the width of the field is about the same as a soccer field.
Emmett's had theirs marked for lacrosse.
Yes, they
For
have a process.
lacrosse.
Do we have a
Rugby.
rugby team?
We have a rugby club,
Yes.
yeah, in middle school. Mr. Anderson's getting that kind of going.
Which is great, I love rugby.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, so it's pretty cool.
What is that, when you've talked to the other schools, have there been any increases in injuries going to the turf?
So when I talked to the young guy, I said, because it was brand new in August, there was one injury on there, and that was actually his nephew, and it was actually his elbow. He got tackled wrong and landed straight. He said it doesn't matter if it was grass or whatever, it was his elbow that he broke, but there wasn't any sort of like knees, and that's what you look at, right? Knees, ankles,
It's knees, ankles.
yeah, and those things, and so, but yeah, so they hadn't reported any increase in injuries, and also looking at it, doing a bunch of research on the medical side of it, and a lot of the research that I found was before 2020, and obviously the turf has changed and those things,
Sure.
and so they said it about an increase of about 17%, and right now a lot of our injuries are actually non-contact on the basketball court, right, and so it kind of does ebb and flow with kids, and so what I would say is that that's what most studies said around there, but again, most of them did reference that was before 2020, and so anyway, but I did look into that as well.
And the Emmett maintenance person had very nice things to say about this company. The Homedale maintenance person said he definitely did not recommend the company that put their field in, so
love the turf, not so much the company, just because, and they were from Georgia, or they were
It
from,
was just hard to,
yeah,
I was really impressed with, I thought maybe it would fade in the hot summers we have here, and Homedale's is 4 years old.
Yeah.
It's a bright red, and it hasn't faded at all.
yeah.
So, because I was worried about having to repaint it or
Yeah.
letter it or.
Would there be additional cost to the school, or would the parents be the ones supplying the turf tape for their kids' arms or legs or?
we would supply that, yeah. And that's something that I play a lot, especially like high school, like you get them every now and then, sometimes they'll get pretty bad. It's not like the NFL where, I mean, it's,
Yeah.
speed of those kind of things is that, most of the high schools that I've coached for and done that, we haven't had to use it. Again, you do have those kids, and what we do is we put the regular kind of bandage around it and then tape around that just to protect, because you get, it's rub burn essentially, right, if you are sliding or those things.
Yeah.
So,
And it was a total knowledge thing where I didn't even know there was such a thing as turf tape. I just made sure, there was a long sleeve shirt under the football uniform. But essentially, when we showed up, there was parents giving their kids turf tape. I'm like, hey, what's that?
yeah, and it's
And
just,
I
I mean,
had no idea.
it's a strip that goes right here. I mean, it's
Yeah.
pretty simple because it is a lot of your elbows and those things that, so.
So now with the turf, instead of traveling all the way to Portland for the winter, we're gonna be able to do them here.
Yeah, we'll be able to do them there, and it also will become a great resource for Eastern Oregon, right? I mean, other than Eastern Oregon University, we're the only turf field. I think Hermiston might be the closest one, right? I mean, and so we're kind of growing and looking at that's going to be our future, making it deeper into state playoffs. But there are some other schools around us that are slotted to kind of start repeating those things as well, and they could use them. So if somebody's playing Harper, right, next year in state, Harper doesn't have to go to Bend to play. They have to come here, and so it will be a resource for that as well for the whole county of Malheur. So, and it does align with the board's vision of having world-class facilities and attracting people to NISA, because it's a big deal. Like, people are hearing about it and they're calling, like, what's going on there? What are we doing? So Matt's like, oh, why did they get that? What was it? You know, I mean, so there's a lot of, it brings a lot of great attention to NISA and what we have. We've always had, you know, like our auditorium that are just like world-class things that are amazing, and that would kind of really go in line with what the board wants, so.
And that brings to mind, we do need to look at our facilities usage
Yeah.
policy. So please mark that down on the agenda, so in the future.
Yeah, and we talked about it, remember, back in the fall, we had a lot of conversations on it, and, you know, I feel like we've landed in a really good place. We're saying, hey, this is what we're going to do, this is what it looks like, but again, before that goes in, we better have that airtight, so, yeah.
So what's the long-term cost benefit analysis? I mean, financially of putting turf in, like, we're not gonna have to mow it anymore and mark lines twice a week or however often that has to be done. But how's that pencil out? What's about, we're gonna have, I don't know what that number is, but it's gonna be a big initial number. Where does it go from there? Is it gonna cost us an extra 100,000 a year? Is it gonna save us 100,000 a year?
Yeah, and so that was something that Jesse and I were looking at getting those numbers, and Pat too, they relayed that to as well, because there's a lot, right? I mean, just the water alone, the electric, the mowing, like just all the maintenance of those things that we're taking out every year, right? And those compound, like I said, every game day on Friday, 3 guys, half a day, right? That's a pretty big cost. And so you're looking at, you know, 5 or 6 times a year, you gotta do that, and that's just for high school, but then you still have middle school. Anyway, so all of those things we'd say, Jesse was really gonna start penciling it out to look at, to give you guys. And again, once we get to like, hey, this is what the design is, this is how much it's gonna cost, we're saying it's gonna be about $1 million project, then we will have those numbers when we're committing to that, so.
But it won't be maintenance free either.
No,
I mean,
no.
there's gonna be, we wanna see those costs too, of not just this is how much we'll save, but this is what it will also cost. We can really see where's the ROI.
Yep.
Bottom line.
Yeah, and we do plan on putting like an extra account, starting an extra account aside, because that's part of when teams rent it, like outside kind of thing, that money will right into that maintenance, because we're looking at about 10 years, is that you look at replacing the top layer, right? You don't have to do the whole digging down, excavation, It's just the top, which is vastly less than the initial project will be, so. but,
Yeah, Susie was quite adamant about how long it will last,
Yep.
so,
so.
it's a pretty important thing.
And it won't be all blue, by the way, if anybody's wondering, that's not gonna be part of the design, so that.
I thought that would be pretty cool, that little turn.
Yes, but, it's been done, it's been trademarked, and so we're out of that game, but. So, anyway, so that's so the Wright brothers are who I will be recommending today to go with the design portion of it. And it's so on theirs, it's a max of 110,000 is for the design aspect, which rolls into like the full cost, and if it's less, they'll like if it takes less hours, they'll charge us less on it, but, so that'll be the one I propose today.
Do we wanna vote on that today?
Yes, and start going forth with the design. We're not, again.
Yeah, it's voting on the design
Yeah.
Well, that's
aspect.
$110,000
Yeah.
that we're voting on, but we don't know what the overall cost of this is really gonna be. And I don't wanna spend $110,000 when I don't know this is gonna cost us long term.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, and we don't.
And everything.
Right, well, why spend $110,000 to have something designed? If, when we get the cost, and this is gonna cost us an extra $50,000 a year, maybe we don't even wanna do it, now we've just spent $110,000
I will-
without enough information.
Yeah, I will say the Homedale guy, he said all they do is they take, so there's like a brush and a cutter, right? Is that they, a couple times a year, they take a brush over it, and literally, it's a big brush, to kind of get everything, and it shakes everything back down, so that's all they've done in 4 or 5 years. They don't do anything else. So, and Emmett's done nothing to theirs, and obviously it's brand new, but that's what he said, right? And so, and they did have a little crown to theirs, which may have changed things a little bit, but he said that's it, twice a year, that's all they do.
Yeah, that Homedale had the crown,
Yeah,
Emmett's was flat.
yeah.
And the Emmett person did say that when we had all the rain, that there was not puddle, but there was some water,
Yeah,
but that it disappeared within an hour
yeah.
because of the drainage system they had. Anything else?
If you say design, does that mean they're literally just gonna give you specs? Is that?
So the design, that's when they have to do the survey, right? The ground, like this is far, we have to go down, this is what it's gonna look like, you need, so like Emmett, they had to put in a cement barrier around it to kind of hold everything. We already have that, so they said, okay, that's, part of it is in the actual cost of it, that's out of it. If we want like, so we were looking at replicating kind of the middle of the gym, that emblem in the at half court on the football field, right? And so saying, okay, the more design stuff we put into it, the more it might cost, and just those
Yeah.
things. So they'll be able to really say, based on all of this, the survey, it's going to cost about this much money. So, yeah.
And of course, hopefully the turf is actually manufactured in the United States and not have to be imported.
Yes, it is manufactured in the United States, and that's part of the reason why we need to get on it now, because we want it in and operable by the first game. And then so we get it ordered in May, the middle of May, right after the Don Walker is when we'll get started on that project. And so the big part about once we're excavating those things, that's pretty quick. It's just ordering the turf and getting it here to install. So.
Other questions? If not, we'll move on to the policy updates.
Perfect. We have about 15 minutes, so we'll rock through this.
I think we've all read the policies because we've all
Yeah.
have them. So,
And these are just my recommendations on you guys on the second one. Megan worked really hard this evening to put these together just to make it easier. So these ones right here are the do not adopt policy of the OSBA. You'll see that I sent you that thing with Morgan Allen, his recommendations to go back to 2020 based on litigation. And so that's why you'll see a bunch of those in their do not adopt. That has to do with Title IX and so you'll see that in there. And then these do not adopt as well are, we have some language and things in there that might refer back to that, the Title IX ruling as well. And so we don't want to adopt those right now either, until we can really look over those, so. Table until March per discussion, and these ones, again, these are my recommendations through here. Megan and I sat down and we had a lot of conversations with it. The instructional materials, all of that, and then grad requirement, this was something that the board has a different grad requirement than Oregon, but our policy right now does not reflect that. Is that correct, Megan?
Yeah, it doesn't look like it reflects accurately.
Yeah, so we want to go back through and make sure that it reflects your guys' minimum standard for requirement. I think it's 27 credits, right? And there's like computer apps. We have, what's that? Advisory, those ones. So anyway, so we want to table that to really put some wording in there so it reflects the standard that you guys have put for graduation. And then IKG, I wanted to also leave that until another conversation. That is about artificial intelligence. I did really like the proposal from OSBA on artificial intelligence and really saying, you know, it's up to kind of teachers and classrooms to teach it and set that standard. But I do want to meet with admin a little more to review this and make sure we're comfortable with it before bringing it up. This isn't a have to, this is optional, but I do think setting a standard of artificial intelligence is a good start for us. So that's why I'm also waiting to table that till March. Again, like I said, these are my recommendations. All of these ones in here, Megan and I went through today and made sure that all of our recommendations are in there for those, so you guys can see them in the drive. And then the very last one is EFA. This is from the November 1, the wellness committee met and talked about this policy, or the local wellness program. And so we made all of those changes that we'd like to kind of propose to the board to adopt. And so that's why you'll see EFA on there, because it is ready to go. So.
And I've added that one to the drive with all the other ones.
Did you all have a chance to read the FA on the drive?
I just barely got it added today, so.
Did I miss anything, Megan?
I don't think so.
I usually do, so it's surprising. Any other questions on the policies?
No questions? Then, that conclude our work session. Does anyone else have any questions to ask Ryan during our work session? In that case, we will, at 6:50, we'll take a 10-minute recess and then reconvene for our regular session at 7 o'clock.
Thank you.